Okay, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us today. We are offside and out of bounds. We're here with Offside Bets today. We're going to be looking at the betting lines for the NCAA Sweet 16 tournament, which is happening tomorrow, Saturday, March 27th. Looking to shape up to a nice little tournament here. I'm Adam.
I'm Junior. Let's
check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Okay, Junior. We got a big day tomorrow in the NCAA tournament. Before we jump into our breakdown on some of the lines and matchups here, maybe just some initial thoughts about some of the teams that are here.
Oh man, the upsets that have been coming through, some of these small market teams have just been playing out of their minds, and there isn't a game that I haven't enjoyed watching. What about you?
Yeah, same. We've covered this pretty extensively at this point, breaking down, the first couple of rounds in each of the regions. And I don't think anybody's bracket would have looked anything like this had you given even them maybe 10% of the insight with these teams now. Sure. But the good news is the games have been incredible. It's been a Cinderella story for some teams, and those underdogs, which I think everybody appreciates watching some underdogs kind of take to the court and have some fun, right? So I guess with that, we'll jump into the Sweet 16 matchups, totaling 8 games tomorrow. Starting off with Villanova. So you got Villanova, number 5 seed versus Baylor Bears. Baylor has looked pretty great in this tournament so far. How do you think this matchup is looking at with a minus 7.5 for Baylor?
Well, when you look at Baylor, their points per game is down a little bit, but they've also brought down the defensive points per game. And, they beat Hartford by, 24, and then came back and beat Wisconsin by 16. So, Hartford and Wisconsin, obviously Hartford was a 16th seed, so, not the greatest in the country, but they did make the tournament. Should they have beaten them by a bit more than 26? Probably. Wisconsin, a minus 6, they probably should have beat them by more, And then when you look at Villanova, they've had a bit of a soft trip through, because of all these upsets that had happened. North Texas made it through against Texas in the first round, so they end up facing a 14 and a 13 seed. So, you can kind of argue that they've had a bit of a soft route to get into the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
But, their points are up, and they've limited the baskets on the other side. The way I see this game going is I think, I even had Nova losing against Winthrop in the first round.
Yeah, I remember you're not a fan of Villanova and the branding of that team, which I understand. But Winthrop was, I know that was kind of your big horn the first time.
Yeah, it was.
So.
I think the number one reason for that was Connor Gillespie. He is the spark plug of that team. Went down the last game of the season.
Yeah.
Now they've been able to kind of make way without him, but this is a Baylor team that is going to attack your guards. They are relentless. They have just phenomenal team defense, and I think they're going to cause a lot of issues for Villanova at the guards. And the guards are just not going to have time to think. There's going to be lots of traps. There's going to be lots of different sets set. So. Yeah. I think Villanova's going to have a tough time, and for me, I see Baylor covering this 7.5.
Okay. Yeah. No. I think Baylor's gonna win this game definitely comfortably at 7.5. Probably 10, maybe 15 points up to that point. We have over under at 141.5. Do you see this game kind of getting into that range?
I think it's going to. I think both these teams, I think they're going to hit that 70 mark. I think. Even with Villanova, I can't see them scoring less than 70 points.
Yeah.
But Baylor, I can see them scoring more than 80 points. So 70 and 80, add them up, it's 150. So you're leaving yourself a bit of a 8.5 point cushion on that. So, I think I'm comfortable going Baylor in the over on this.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think Baylor will walk through this game, into the Elite Eight, which we will be previewing on Sunday nights live. We'll be looking at the Elite Eight, so be sure to tune in for that. Okay, so moving on here. Oh man, this has been quite the story for the 15th seed Oral Roberts Golden Eagles. I mean, no one would have expected this team, certainly not to be here. Getting into this position, you just wouldn't expect to see this happen. Beating Texas Tech, beating Ohio State in the opening round, and then Florida. Some early seeding, seeding 2 and 7, beating both those teams, and now going on to face Arkansas, the number 3 seed, which have been playing pretty good overall. 11.5 favorites going into this game against Oral Roberts. I mean, it would appear on paper that this could be a win for Arkansas, but I mean, you just can't count this team out. What do you think is going to happen here? Is 11.5 a fair enough spread? Do you think Oral Roberts can upset this Arkansas Razorback team?
So, I mean, yeah, Oral Roberts has been a great story this tournament, especially upsetting a 2 and a 7.
Yeah.
But there's something the 2 and the 7 have in common, and that is they lost their best player before the tournament. So when you don't have a whole lot of time to plan for a team, and you don't have a whole lot of time to figure out who's going to take an injured player's spot, it kind of throws the rotations out of whack.
Yeah.
I think Oral Roberts had the perfect draw for them to get to this point. Arkansas is not injured, and arguably, that game against Texas Tech was a little bit closer, but they were also underdogs in that game.
Yeah.
I think Arkansas, the minute they saw that they were a +2 against Texas Tech, put a chip on their shoulder. Now, my issue is you look at Absmith, of Oral Roberts, the guy is playing out of his mind. He's most likely going to be the best guard on the floor. But the one thing that Arkansas is going to do is they're going to wear you down. They're going to run different looks at you.
Yeah.
They're defensively sound in terms of their overall game. Now, they've also brought down the season average of opponents' points per game down by 3. Their scoring's come down again, but this is a team, as you saw against Colgate, can put up 80-plus points without issue. So for me, unfortunately, the Cinderella swan song, it's over here. It's Arkansas. I think Oral Roberts might cover the spread, but I'm thinking Arkansas is going to move on through this.
Yeah, I think you're right here. I don't think Oral Roberts is going to squeeze through Arkansas at this point. As you mentioned, the defensive abilities of the Razorbacks, I mean, they definitely are a team that can mix up on defense, and they're definitely going to put some pressure on Abmas. So 11.5 at the spread. Yeah, I think maybe Oral Roberts might make this closer than a lot of people think, but I don't think they're going to win this game at all. We have the over-under here at 159. Very, very high. I think this might be the highest score we've actually seen, or this highest over-under maybe this entire tournament, actually.
Yeah, it definitely has. And I think it's more or less because of those 2 games that Oral Roberts has played and have been pretty high scoring, and pretty high scoring in close games. But I don't know if you're going to see them in that high 70s, low 80s in terms of point total. Arkansas, maybe. But, Oral Roberts plays in very close games. So when you look at Ohio State, it was 75-72 in OT.
Yeah.
Again, Ohio State without their best player. Florida, 81-78. Again, Florida without their best player. Moses Moody's there. And his averages are kind of around seasonal for him at 15 and 6. I think it was the last game, and normally he's around 17 and 6. So
yeah,
he is playing, and he's playing well. So, Arkansas is not dealing with any injuries. So I can see Arkansas scoring maybe, mid-70s, high 70s, and then Oral Roberts might be there too. But again, 160 is just too high for me, so I'll take the under on this. Yeah, just pound it.
It's just so high. It's just such a high-scoring game. I mean, it has the potential to get there, but I don't think it's going to happen tomorrow.
Hey, it could be 85-82, and Oral Roberts wins, and the over gets blown by 7 points.
Yeah, exactly.
You never know.
Awesome. Okay, so that wraps the South region with those two matchups. Moving over to the Midwest here, Okay, so the Oregon State Beavers. This was a heck of a game last week. Really enjoyed watching them play. Tennessee and Oklahoma State overall, and Loyola. I mean, that was probably the best game of that day for me. Anyways, I watched that entire game. I actually had the time and effort to watch that game. They got Sister Jean available. Hopefully, -7 for Loyola here. Can the Beavers pull one off, or is Loyola going to go through?
When I saw this spread, I literally laughed myself into my app and put as much as I could on Oregon State.
You think they're going to win this game? I bet.
I do. So I'll wait to pull my horn out. We'll go through this first. Yeah, you know what? Loyola has had a great run so far, but let's be clear about this. They beat a Georgia Tech team that had been grinding for a week and a half and was probably tired. The score dictates that because Georgia Tech is usually above 60, well above 60.
Yeah.
Again, okay, Loyola Chicago, you're averaging around giving up 60 points a game, but it's also not the same conference, and Georgia Tech was playing a lot better team. So let's just say they were tired. Loyola pulled through. They still won the game, so that's all that matters. And then you come to Illinois. I didn't like Illinois in the 1 seed anyway. I didn't have them going that far in my bracket. And Loyola dismantled them.
It was embarrassing.
It was. The way Krutwig was coming up to the top of the key, and we've spoken about this many times.
We talked about Krutwig for 20 minutes, I think, that day.
And how much it reminded us of the Raptors offense with Marc Gasol at the top of the key, distributing the ball, dropping it off for just easy layup, dunk buckets. And he played out of his mind. I love his energy. I love what he brings to the table. But the thing that I saw more out of anything was the fact that Illinois could not counter that. They did not want to come out of their game plan. And when you've got a guy like Kofi Coburn, who could have just completely smothered Krutwig at the top of the key, did not leave because he wanted to protect the basket.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of things just happened to go wrong for Illinois that day. We actually both had Loyola beating Illinois.
Oh, yeah.
But in this spot, when I look at the quality that Oregon State, let's just walk through who they've beaten. UCLA, Oklahoma State, Oregon, Colorado.
Yeah.
Teams that have put up a lot of points. And now bring in Tennessee and Oklahoma State again.
Yeah.
This team has been playing unreal ball for the last 3 weeks now. Their points per game production is up. Their opponent's points per game production is down.
Yeah.
When you see a team scoring more and giving up less in the tournament, and they're playing
they're in the
high
pocket.
seats, they are ready to go. And I've been riding Oregon State to this point, and I'm going to continue to ride Oregon State to the Elite Eight. Sorry.
Get the bagpipes out today.
Yeah.
Okay, listen. I gotta jump in here and just pump the brakes for a moment because I gotta speak about. I know you didn't have Illinois kind of in that 1 seed, and Loyola was able to beat them. And yes, Krutwig played out of his mind. What about the defense that Loyola put together in that game as well? Because they forced a ton of turnovers. They were all over the ball. I mean, like we said, they embarrassed Illinois. Like Illinois, they were basically crying on the way to the locker room. No, I think I had Illinois going all the way to the Final Four, and so did a lot of brackets. Do you not think that's going to be an impact here against Oregon State?
I think it will, but I don't think that Oregon State is not going to switch up what they're doing if it doesn't work.
Yeah, that was weird that Illinois didn't really change up or start going inside, which they started to go kind of at the very tail end of maybe the second half, maybe with 10 minutes left, they started going inside, right, to Coburn. But again, I think this is going to be probably one of the best games tomorrow. I think this is going to be a bit of a bloodbath. And you know what? I really like Krutwig, so I want to see him do well and hopefully get real active in this game. Over under at 125. I mean,
hammer the over.
This seems low to me. It seems extremely low.
Hammer the over.
Okay, awesome. So we're going to hit the over. You got the upset with Oregon State moving on past Loyola and Oregon State covering the spread as well. Perfect.
Yep.
So that's the first of the Midwest. Let's move on. Okay, so we both love this team, Syracuse versus Houston, the 11 seed versus the 2 seed. Lots to be desired about Syracuse. They're playing good at the right time in this tournament. The spread on this game is -6.5. What do you think about this game here?
Ludicrous.
You're talking about the spread.
Yeah, ludicrous that this spread is 6.5.
Would you favor the Syracuse Orangemen over Houston in this game?
Did no one see what Syracuse did to West Virginia?
I get it, yeah.
Not only did they run the 2-3 zone, but they were throwing traps at their guards. Like,
they won it.
Jim Boeheim is playing chess when everyone's playing checkers.
Yeah, exactly.
This man is 5 steps ahead of you. And when I look on the other side at Houston, and I liked Houston. You know, I actually really thought that they were going to go, a good distance.
Yep.
But when I saw what Rutgers did to them, Rutgers should have won that game.
We had Rutgers, I believe, in the upset.
We
correct?
did.
Yeah.
Well, no, we had Houston going through, but Rutgers covering the spread.
Covering the spread,
did.
sorry.
But Rutgers in the last 3.5 minutes of that game was playing preventative offense.
Yeah.
They just didn't want the score to go anywhere. If they just continued to play, we would be talking about a Rutgers-Syracuse all-New York matchup, not Houston-Syracuse.
Yeah.
Boeheim is good for 30 a night, and Houston's got a little bit of injuries. I think Grimes has got a hip pointer. So to see this at a 6.5, I smell trap. And we both love Syracuse, and I keep loving Syracuse. And I just find it hard to go against Boeheim when he is just on point right now. So,
I mean, this has been the tournament of
upset.
upsets. I don't see why this can't be another one. Syracuse is playing at an extremely high level of basketball right now. And I'm with you here on them going through and covering the spread very easily. Over under at 140. What do you think? I think it's kind of right in the middle here.
Yeah, it's right where I like it. I think the only thing that's going to dictate whether this is going to go over or under is if Houston's able to get Syracuse off the 3-point line. If Gerard and Boeheim are just left free to do what they want, this thing can fly over.
Yeah.
I mean, it's tough. I like Houston in the 70 to low 70s. I like Syracuse in the 70s to high 70s. So you know what? Let's go out on an island here and let's go with the over.
Okay.
It's a high cover, but
yeah, it's very close there. Just noting here, Boeheim had 25 in the last game, so expect to see him continue to perform at a very high level. So that would cover off the Midwest. And moving along here. Okay, to the West. So we got the Creighton Blue Jays and number 1 seed Gonzaga. Of course, the Zags have been just incredible. -13 favorites are the Bulldogs. Perfect record, looking to go all the way to the big show. What do you think about this game, this matchup? Will the spread get covered? And does Creighton really stand a chance in this game?
Well, look at Creighton's map here, right? So they beat a number 12 UCSB, Santa Barbara.
Yeah.
They didn't cover. They barely got by them at 63-62. I lost a lot of chalk for them at that game, and it was very tough for me to ride them the next game, especially with a lower spread than the first game that they didn't cover against a 12 seed playing a 13 seed. At 5.5, they covered. They covered generously.
Yeah, they killed Ohio.
But the problem I've got with the Blue Jays in this spot is they are a team that likes to run. They are a team that likes to get the score into the 80s. But you're playing a team that loves to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't run with Gonzaga. If you're going to run with Gonzaga, you're going to get run out of the gym. And Gonzaga's going to put up 100 on you.
Yeah.
So I don't think that this is the spot that Gonzaga is going to get tested, especially with the way that Kispert and Timmy are playing right now, which is absolutely phenomenal.
Yep.
Kispert had a double-double with 30 points last game. Sorry, that was Timmy. Kispert was 16 and 3.
Yeah.
13 points. I mean, they've covered every game to this point, including a 33 and a 14. So why not a 13?
Okay. Interesting. We have the over-under at 158. I mean, this game could definitely get up there.
Hey, if Creighton wants to score 80, that's fine because Gonzaga's going to score over 90. So,
Yeah.
You know what? This is a bit tougher, but you know what? They've had a 151 and a 154 previous to this, and they went over substantially on the first one. The second one barely got over. I think it was 158. So, you know what? Let's go with the over.
Yeah, I think the over is also going to happen on this one. 158. Just thinking about Gonzaga and their point production is up. About 3 points, so 92 points. I mean, Creighton's got to put something up to make this game interesting.
And they're down almost 10-point production in the tournament too. So
there you go. And actually, it looks like Gonzaga is actually holding teams to 6 points less as well on the defensive end of things. Okay, so that's the first matchup in the West here. Moving along, another Oregon team that we like. We got the Ducks, the 7th seed. They're +2 against the USC Trojans. Trojans beat Drake and Kansas to get through here, and they had a first round bye, the Oregon Ducks, and then beat Iowa. So, what do you think about this matchup at -2 for USC?
this is all Pac-12 matchup. These two teams know each other very, very well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I had my doubts with Oregon in the first round because they had that layoff, and then they came out and completely dismantled Iowa and Garza, who was primed to make a nice run. 95-80, the score was a little nicer than what the game actually was like because Omarui and Duarte just went off.
Yeah.
So it's tough for me to not like them in this spot. They're obviously it's one game. They're 1-0 in the tournament, but they scored 20 points above their season average. They gave up a lot more points, but when you see that kind of a fluctuation in points per game, especially when you're talking about Iowa was a 2 seed and coming off a win, and they just slapped them around. Now, USC, on the other hand, they beat Drake, but I think Drake got exposed in that play-in game, and you could see exactly how you could beat them, and I think the coaching staff had the right plan, and they hammered Drake. Then they came in against the Kansas team that was undermanned and just tired, and they had to deal with like COVID protocols. So I can't really give you a solid like ATS win on that. So you got two soft teams against a team that was, primed to go to the Final Four. I'm sure a lot of people had them there. The thing that I did doubt about Oregon, they were lanky and they got inside. They shot the ball well outside last game. So, I mean, it's only 2 points. The last time these teams faced, USC beat them badly. But I think Oregon's got a taste. So, I'm going to take the upset.
Okay. So you'll take them then to cover the spread. And just before we go to the over-under, you touched on Garza. I just want to get your thoughts on his career. I mean, he's had what a guy. What a heart he showed in the last game.
Yeah.
He really
phenomenal kid.
He really put everything on the line. What are your final thoughts on him as he exits the NCAA?
Phenomenal kid. Not just a basketball player. Like the stuff that he does outside off the court.
Yeah.
He visits a lot of schools. He reads to them. Like he does a lot in the community. And it just goes to show you that he was raised well and he's got a good head on his shoulders. So, I do think he was also, I can't remember if it was Air Force, Navy, but he's enlisted somewhere. So, I mean, if he decides to go that route, then all the best to him and safe. If he decides to stick with basketball, I think that any team is going to want to take a guy who's got that kind of a community kind of touch, a good head on his shoulders, very respectful, and he'll be a primetime NBA player, I think.
Yeah, I love his game. He's got a lot to offer, anybody that he joins. So, all the best to him. Over under here, 138. Kind of right in the middle there again, I think.
Jeez. Oregon's last game was a 175, and USC's last game was a 136. So, I mean, it's like right. You know what?
Do you expect Oregon to have that kind of point production again in this game, though?
It might not be as high, but I think it's still going to be in the 80s. So, I mean, USC's going to score more than 50 points. So, give me the over.
Okay. Awesome. So that wraps up the West. Moving along here to the East, we got the number 4 Florida State Seminoles versus number 1 seed Michigan Wolverines. Point spread here on this game is -2.5 for Michigan. This is a decent matchup, I think, overall. What do you think is going to happen with these two teams when they meet tomorrow?
On paper, it looks really interesting. But when I look at Florida State, I didn't like them in the first round. I had UNCG taking them out.
Yeah, I remember that.
They also didn't cover their spread, and it was a very, very low-scoring affair. I think it was the second lowest first-round matchup in terms of total point production. And then they faced off against Colorado, who I think literally took every shot that they were allowed to hit in that first game against Georgetown, because they did nothing. But Georgetown couldn't run Colorado off the line. Florida State was running them off the line.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem they're going to get in that with Michigan is if you run Michigan off the line, they're going to dump it down to Dickinson. They've got guys on the wings that can come in and get close to the basket and score. This is a team that can score inside and out. They are very balanced offense. And I think that it's going to put up, Florida State in a real bad position. And to see the spread's only 2.5 on this, I think they're giving a bit too much credit to Florida State.
Yeah.
I think Michigan's built for a deep run in this, to get to that final game. Don't know if they will, but I see them going past the Sweet 16. So at a 2.5 clip on this, give me Michigan. I just think that they're the better balanced team overall.
Yeah, they have the ability to facilitate the basketball in many different ways. So I think that's going to definitely bode well for them against Florida State here. Over under on this game is 143.5. What do you think about that?
Florida State's played 2 games. They haven't gone over either of them.
Yeah. So
I think that, with them in the driver's seat, it's going to go under. But I think Michigan is just going to absolutely humiliate them. So, I'm going to take the under on this.
Okay. Awesome. And moving along here, I believe this is the last game we're covering here. So we got the number 11 UCLA Bruins versus Roll Tide, Alabama. -6.5 for Alabama here. This is still an interesting matchup, but I know the seeding is off, but I know we appreciate UCLA and what they have to offer. What do you think about this matchup? Are we going to hear that horn again?
This is going to be a good matchup. I'd say outside that Oregon State Loyola game, this is another one of those games. UCLA was running in the Pac-12. As you can see what the Pac-12 has done in this tournament so far, I do believe they're 6-0. Unfortunately, I think a few of them are going to go down this round. But point production's up on the UCLA side. Their points per game is on the offensive side is down. Mm-hmm. They've covered 3 games, and they beat Michigan State in the play-in round. They beat BYU in the second round, and then they beat Abilene, who was an upset special in the second round. Now, when you look at Alabama, they've been scoring a bunch. They absolutely rolled Maryland out of the gym last game. And then, unfortunately, they didn't cover against Iona, but I think that was just a stinker.
Yeah,
they had to get that out of their system. And like I said, Bama's almost undefeated when they score over 80 points. So they've scored once in the tournament over 80, and they won that handily. So, man, this is a tough game for me to.
That's a crazy swing though in points, right? They put up 68 against Iona and then 96
against a better team.
Against a better team in Maryland. So, what kind of Alabama team are we going to see, come tomorrow's game?
I think right now Bama's really going off. I think everyone's kind of peaking at the right time. Shackelford's playing absolutely amazing right now.
Yeah.
21-3 last game.
Yeah, that's right.
I think Alabama's just going to put too much pressure on UCLA to score. Juzang's going to have to just have an out-of-body experience and just absolutely, mop the floor with them. I don't know if I see that happening. I like UCLA in this spot, but I like Bama in this spot too.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of torn, Okay.
Give us the spread first.
6.5. 6.5. I think UCLA covers the spread.
Okay.
Bama
and then
wins.
Who's the outright winner? Bama? Okay. 138 is the over-under on this game. I mean, it just depends on which Alabama team shows up.
That's the thing. So, I mean, when you look at UCLA, 86, 73, and 67.
Again, that's big swings.
Big swings, and that's a lot. That's going down in the opposit direction that you
and
wanted
why
to.
didn't they score more points against Abilene?
Well, I think Abilene did that to who they have first round? Texas. Abilene had the lowest scoring game. It was like 54 to 53 or something. I think they're just a slow team, and they really drive that pace down really slowly. So I think that's why their games tend to be low scoring.
Mm-hmm.
I look more at that BYU game because I think BYU is very similar to Alabama, just in terms of their style of play. So, I mean, if they held BYU to 62, I don't know if they can hold Bama to 62. I think they can probably score in the 70s. So, and if Bama gets to 80, they're undefeated when they're 80 and up. So, you know what? Give me the over.
Okay. So there you have it. We got Bama for the win. Bama for the over overall, and UCLA to cover at plus 6.5. Awesome. Okay, so we're going to bring up next our bets so far. We've got the bottom line here, so we're going to share that with you. Just give us a moment here to load it up. Okay.
Man, that last game was just so tough for me. Sorry.
No. Hey, no worries. I know that wasn't an easy one for you to pick. I know you have a soft spot for UCLA, as do I, and they're the most decorated team in college basketball. So you can never count that team out. Okay, so let's see what we got here. Okay, the bottom line. You want to break this down for us, Junior?
Sure. So, we'll start with our straight up bets. So first round we were 17 to 29. Round 2 we were 13 to 16. So total for the first 2 rounds, 30 to 45 at 66%. So that's some good profitability on our straight up picks.
Yep.
Spread picks, round 1, 20 to 32. Round 2, 12 to 16. So 32 to 48. Again, 66%. So very profitable on those.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Our over-unders were 20 to 29 in the first round, 14 to 16 in the second round. So 34 to 45 for a 75% clip. So listen to our over-unders because 3/4 of the time we are correct. And our upset picks, the first round we were 6 to 12. Round 2 we were almost perfect at 5 and 6. So our total is 11 and 18, a 61% clip on underdogs, not picks, on underdogs winning the game outright.
It's been the tournament for that, that's for sure.
So on our regular bets, we're up 990 units, and on a $100 straight up bet on the upset picks, our picks are up $6,500, and overall, all of our picks were 107 for 156, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, modeling is great here. Thanks for that breakdown. We hope that this continues, and hopefully we can drive some of those percentages up even more moving into the Sweet 16 tomorrow and the Elite 8 on Monday. We'll be back on Sunday for a live preview of the 4 games that will be happening on Monday in the Elite 8. Also want to remind everyone or let people know, if you like baseball, okay, if you like the game of baseball, we are going to be all over the game of baseball this season. You can check our podcasts out if you go to the link that we're going to have in the description following this live video. Go to the link. Junior has put together some incredible insights breaking down each of the divisions through all of baseball, leading up and culminating our journey to the MLB preview, which will be happening on the 31st, Junior?
Yes.
Okay,
31st.
awesome. Do you want to touch on any of this, any baseball stuff,
sure.
just as we kind of go out? I know it's a big thing for you.
We've been putting a lot of hard work on in all of this. Hopefully you guys are seeing the quality that's progressing and getting better as we go on. But we do apologize that it's been, wall-to-wall basketball. It just happened to be that point in time that we kind of dropped in on was all NCAA. but we're more than just NCAA. You know, we're baseball, football, basketball, hockey, everything. You know, we've got so much content that we have already set up and kind of in motion. There's tons of great events coming up. You know, Euros this summer, so you know we've got some great soft pieces too. You know, check out the Forgotten Ones. We're going to be doing a sports series and kind of every genre of sports on some of the guys that got forgotten, kind of out of the history books, or you know, it's a great little web series. You know, and we've got more coming. It's not just basketball. We've got tons of stuff coming. You know, and if there's anything or any sport that we haven't covered or you want us to talk about, we'll do the work. You know, we have no problem giving you guys what you want. So, you know, definitely keep on us because we're going to turn out some great stuff for you guys.
Yeah, we're going to be all over every sport as much as we can. You know, we're putting our heart and soul into it, and you know, hats off to Junior here. He's been a real champion and a shining star for Offside and Out of Bounds.
Well, you have to, man. You have to.
Thanks, I appreciate that. So we thank you again. Comment, like, subscribe. Tell us what you want to hear from us so that we can tailor the content for you. We want to make sure that we're captivating the audience and expanding the reach and getting out to everybody and giving you a little bit of everything. And I think that's a wrap for us, Junior.
Yeah,
I think that's a wrap. So for everybody here at Offside Out of Bounds, I want to thank you guys again. Thank you for being on this journey. You know, if you go back to our first video, you know, it's our most watched video on YouTube with the NBA All-Star. But, you know, we're trying to come and we're trying to evolve and, you know, reinvent, you know, this experience as we continue forward. So we thank you for taking that time and being with us along on this journey. So for everybody here at Offside Out of Bounds, I'm Adam.
I'm Junior. See you real soon.